Throughout Digimon's history as a franchise, not only have we seen many different types of Digimon with different names, different stories, etc., we've also seen some characters and creatures and species that aren't quite Digimon but are still digital in their nature. And these are just known as digital life forms. They are other beings that share the digital world but aren't Digimon in nature. So these are the likes of Genai/Genai, depending on what version you appreciate, and the fish from Marching Fishes, which appear to be just fish, but they're still digital life forms. So here are my top 5 digital life forms, the things that are in Digimon and in the digital world, but aren't quite Digimon. And what I'm noticing just thinking about my list before I get into it is that, wow, a lot of these are just from Digimon Tamers. So I guess Digimon Tamers just had a lot of well-known digital life forms, I guess. So let's get into it. First of all, we have the Digi Gnomes, which kind of just hang out with Kellumon in Digimon Tamers. They are more or less treated and act like fairies, and they just kind of are magical, fairy-like beings. And again, they hang out with Kellumon. Kellumon himself is what I would say is both a digital life form and a Digimon. I believe he is and I know this is not how you say it, but it's the way that my brain has said it for 20 years, but he is what is a digital enchilada, but what my brain says is a digital enchilada, because I read it when I was 10 and was like, I know what that is an enchilada. I believe Kellumon started as that, and then, which is a digital life form, and then kind of became his own Digimon version of that. So he is both a digital life form, that being the digital enchilada, as well as being a Digimon. So that's the first non-Digimon digital life form out of the way. The next one is from Digimon Next, and it is called Neo, or Neo, and he is the antagonist in Digimon Next, which is one of the many Digimon manga that didn't really see an official localization outside of Japan, which is a shame because Next is really good, and it's kind of like it's not a man-made Digimon, it's a mon-made Digimon. It has been in a few other pieces of media. It's been on the Pendulum 20th, I believe, off the top of my head, but it is a digital life form. Again, it's a mon-made creation. But it's not from Digimon Tamers, so that makes it special and different from the rest of my list, I guess. So back to Digimon Tamers, we have Zero Arms Granny, who is kind of just a mount for Dukemon, and like a noble steed for the knight, and then later gives Dukemon the ability to evolve into Crimson mode. So, very useful mount. And speaking of mount, another mount from Tamers, because Tamers really liked giving sentience to otherwise not sentient mounts, we have Behemoth, who is a motorbike, which is very Kino no Tabi of Digimon to have like, hey, we should give the motorbike some form of sentience. However, Behemoth doesn't talk. I feel like he doesn't talk. He probably did in the English dub, knowing the English dub. And that's not derogatory. I love when they give non-verbal characters words. Chef's kiss. So you have Behemoth, who is a crazy motorbike, makes a bunch of Digimon go insane, including Gilmon, but Beelzemon is able to ride it and kind of get it under control, which is pretty cool. And again, this is another case of a digital life form. So, pretty cool. Everyone likes a motorbike. I remember this episode when I watched it when I was a kid. I think it was one of the last episodes of Tamers that actually aired in Australia, because we only got like the first half, I believe, that aired. But I remember a very specific shot of Gilmon riding Behemoth, And that scared me as, like, I feel like I was 9 or 10 when Tamers came out. But that scared me. That was frightening. And no other moment in Digimon had frightened me previously. Even, like, the scary parts of Digimon and Digimon Adventure in 02 with, like, actual demons and ghosts, those parts didn't scare me. But, I don't know, there was something about Gilmon being possessed and his glowing red eyes that spooked me about as much as the really scary covers of Goosebumps books. Like, just kind of just creeped me out. And I feel like I don't think I could sleep that well that night. I got over it after that, but I just remember it being very spooky. So Behemoth, I always have, like, in my mind is like, that is a scary episode of Digimon. But whenever I rewatch it, I'm like, that's not that scary. I guess I was just a kid. But yeah, Behemoth just kind of has a place in my heart as being a pretty cool non-Digimon digital life form. Again, spooked me as a kid. And lastly, we have another one that's not from Digimon Tamers, and it is the Drippin, which are the life forms that are created from Splashmon in Cross Wars. They are a part of Splashmon, but they also are able to think independently of him and act independently of Splashmon. So they kind of have their own sentience as well as being part of him. So they're kind of like part of him, but they have their own mind, kind of. Or at the very least, they're kind of like, I guess, nanobots? I guess, I don't know. They're very cool, kind of gross. They come in different colours. They're just kind of these little squishy boys. But I always remember them. I don't know why. And the little girl that's also part of Splashmon is also, I guess, a case of a digital life form. But Splashmon himself is a Digimon, but he can make digital life forms. So there are various different ways that digital life forms can exist. We have the Digi Gnomes, which are just part of the world. They just kind of are fairies, as I mentioned. We have Neo from Digimon Next, who is created by Digimon. So that is a complete creation from other existence. And then we have Granny and Behemoth. I think Granny actually came from something that was made by the Wild Bunch as like a plane to get them out, but then it gained sentience. Behemoth, I can't remember if Behemoth had an origin story or if it was just an insane bike that exists in the digital world. I can't remember. I'm sure there's an answer for that, but off the top of my head, I can't remember what the origin of Behemoth was. And then we have the Drippin, which are just parts of a Digimon. So basically all these Digimon have different, except for Behemoth, which I have no recollection of how he was created. All these Digimon have, or digital life forms rather, have different ways that they came into being. Some have always been there, the Digi Gnomes. Some were created by Digimon later on, like Neo. And then there's all those in between. Some were created by humans, some were created by Digimon, etc. But overall, those are my favourite examples of digital life forms. Again, it's kind of cool that the writers put effort into things that populate the digital world that aren't just Digimon, like the marching fishes that I mentioned earlier. So in any case, those are my top 5 digital life forms. Let me know your favourite digital life forms from Digimon in the comments section below. And let me know any other questions, or maybe you know where Behemoth came from. Please tell me, roast me for not knowing, call me a fake fan, just tell me where Behemoth came from, comment section below. Like this video for the Digi Gnomes just kind of being cute. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbours, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!